Hi everybody, welcome back to more Aesop's Fables with Grandma Kate. Today I'm going to read one of my favorites. In the last video I read Papa's favorite, and this one is one of my favorites. This one is called Mercury and the Woodman. If any of you know anything about Greek or Roman mythology, there was a god called Mercury. Now you might think, oh, the first planet closest to the sun is Mercury, and it was named after this god. Mercury is the god of communication, the god of travel. He was the messenger of the gods, and he makes an appearance in this story. So it's called Mercury and the Woodsman. A poor woodman was cutting down a tree near the edge of a deep pool in the forest. It was late in the day, and the woodman was tired. He had been working since sunrise, and his strokes were not so sure as they had been early that morning, as he was getting tired. Thus it happened that the axe slipped and flew out of his hands into the pool. The woodman was in despair. The axe was all he possessed with which to make a living, and he had not enough money to buy a new one. As he stood wringing his hands and weeping, the god Mercury suddenly appeared and asked what the trouble was. The woodman told what had happened, and straightway the kind Mercury dived into the pool. When he came up again, he held a wonderful golden axe. "Is this your axe?" Mercury asked the woodman. There's a picture right here. There's Mercury. Usually you'll see him with wings on his feet, like on his shoes, or wings on his helmet, because that represents being able to move quickly. Let's see what he says. Do you think the golden axe is his? "Is this your axe?" Mercury asked the woodman. "No," answered the honest woodman, "that is not my axe." Mercury laid the golden axe on the bank and sprang back into the pool. This time he brought up an axe of silver, but the woodman declared again that his axe was just an ordinary one with a wooden handle. Mercury dived down for the third time, and when he came up again, he had the very axe that had been lost. The poor woodman was very glad that his axe had been found, and could not thank the kind god enough. Mercury was greatly pleased with the woodman's honesty. "I admire your honesty," he said, "and as a reward you may have all three axes, the gold and the silver, as well as your own." The happy woodman returned to home with his treasures, and soon the story of his good fortune was known to everybody in the village. Now there were several woodmen in the village who believed that they could easily win the same good fortune. What do you think they're going to do? They hurried out into the woods, one here and one there, and hiding their axes in the bushes, pretended that they had lost them. Then they wept and wailed and called on Mercury to help them. And indeed, Mercury did appear, first to this one and then to that. To each one he showed an axe of gold, and each one eagerly claimed it to be the one he had lost. But Mercury did not give them the golden axe. Oh no. Instead, he gave them each a hard whack on the head with it and sent them home. And when they returned the next day to look for their own axes, they were nowhere to be found. And the lesson is, honesty is the best policy. Now, I don't know that I'd be whacking anybody over the head, but I guess Mercury could take those liberties with those gentlemen who lied, and they lost their own axes to boot. So when we tell the truth, even when it's hard, because sometimes it can be hard, especially if we do something that's going to get us in trouble. You know, we may want to tell a fib or something. But if we're honest, that's always the best policy. I remember once when I was a little girl, I was playing in the backyard, and when I was coming up the stairs from our porch into the back of the house, I knocked over one of my mom's clay flower pots, and it smashed on the cement. And I was scared because I was afraid I was going to get in trouble. But instead of hiding it, or instead of ignoring it, or whatever, I went right in the house and I told my mom what happened. And she didn't get mad. She said to me, "Katie, thank you for telling the truth." And so I learned from that lesson that telling the truth is always better for me, because then I don't have to worry about what I say. If I tell lies or tell fibs or whatever, I always have to remember which lie did I tell to whom. But if I always tell the truth, life is so much easier. So just remember, honesty is the best policy. Until I see you next time, have a great day. Hope you're enjoying our Aesop's Fables, and I'll see you at our next story time.